go, ladies and gentlemen. In the left-hand corner of the map, in the blue color, playing as the Uranus god, the Atlantean pantheon here, we've got ourselves Darth Nox. His opponent today, in the red color, playing as Thor. His name is Zucolo. And yes, we are on the map Gorge. Super interesting picks for... Everything is just messed up. Everything is just messed up today. I don't know what's going on. I wish that I knew. I wish that it was all working before, and all of a sudden, it's not working. All of a sudden, it's not working. I don't know why. I got no bit to screen. It's just not. Refresh. Let's try that. It was I'm not even kidding. It was literally working 2 seconds ago. No, see, that doesn't work either. Like it's I don't know what to do here, guys. We're in for a difficult time here. We're in for a difficult time here. God damn it. Oh. Alrighty, well, I'm just gonna wait for some sort of a thing to happen. I don't know. Like even over on this side, like this is also broken here. What has happened? Okay, hold on. What has happened? I can't fix. There's no way for me to fix it. I got nothing. I can't just resize it unless it's, or maybe I know. I've got an idea. I got an idea. I think I might know what's going on here. Hold on 1 second. Okay. That is gonna have to do, right? That is gonna have to do for now. I don't know what. We can focus on the games for now. I think I got some sort of a fix. That's close enough. Urus is gonna save me at some point tonight. I don't know what's happened, but something's happened. And now we're gonna be into the game. We can focus. Let's go. Lol. Everything just butchered itself. I don't even know why. Okay, so alrighty, let's just talk about the matchup because we're like 4 minutes in already. We've got Oceanus in already for Darth Nox. Nice quick advance time. Living the dream. On the right-hand corner, Zucolo here with the Thor is going for a later advance time. He started with this Dwarven Armory. All very, very stock standard shenanigans here. I was going to go into a whole bunch of info in this one, as everything, literally everything just needs help here. I need too much help in this game. Okay, this is a good start. This is perfect. This is what I signed up for. I was going to go into a big rant about how both of these gods are an amazing pick for this map. On the one hand, you've got the Norse god, which is going to be able to move around the map really, really nicely, get walls in, get side builds happening, be really, really annoying. On the left-hand side of the map, you've got the Uranus, who's got the Sky Passages, who can literally do the same type of thing, where you can get your Sky Passage maybe like over here nice and early, and you can start walling up with the Sky Passage behind it, and you can cause your opponent a lot of grief with those non-stop. So both players have got a lot of shenanigans they can pull here. On top of this, the map is somewhat close. The spawns are somewhat close to each other. The spawns are somewhat close to each other. So you can kind of charge in. You can kind of somewhat charge in, and you can kind of like get a nice quick attack off. But Zucolo, he's got a really nice back gold mine. He's already defending his back food and hunt with this beautiful wall over here. Of course, he needs another wall onto this side and another one over here, or he can wall off to here. Doesn't really matter. It's got lots of options. But full Berserks and full Send here at the moment from Zuklo does mean Darthnox kind of has to respect this a little bit. You don't want to fight as a Ranos until you've got your upgrades in effectively here. Yes, you've got 2 Caladria and that can be nice, but generally you don't want to fight this early. You want to wait for your upgrades, you want to get a Caraballister out or 2, and you want to be using your Sky Passages to just kind of run around the map and distract. Unless you can get somewhat of an advantageous fight, obviously. If you can take an advantageous fight, you take an advantageous fight. That's the secret where that's concerned. But nonetheless, we are going to be seeing the Caraballis. We're going to see more Murmillos coming out. Darthnox's base is looking relatively safe. Villagers over here are going to have to be garrisoning. He's going to bail off of that gold mine instead of into the mana. No problems where that's concerned. Just a little bit of idle time. Up on this side as well is dangerous, where Darthnox is. And while this is all going on, Zuklo is taking a really nice amount of space. He's grabbed his walls, he's grabbed this position, he's building more and more. The Berserks effectively have to run all the way back home. Now, the Murmillos do have the speed advantage. Do they have the speed advantage? They do have the speed, well, they're speed tied, 5 speed apiece. So if they can snare up a Berserk, which they can do with the Caladria, then they're going to be able to chase these bad boys away. But Zuklo's doing a great job of just saying, I'm going to share the HP damage. He's now escaped for the time being. The Caladria can't catch up. He's going to be able to pull back into his main base, drop a healing spring, get back up to full HP. No problems here. He puts it in the main base, which is kind of fine, but also you might want to be thinking about that healing spring up on this side as well, where the Uranus is going to want to put as much pressure on as is possible. But nonetheless, with the walls up already, Darthnox does need to get in here and break this position up a little bit. So sending a citizen forward for the Sky Passage such that he can garrison his Caraballister, and then he's going to be able to knock through the walls, put pressure onto this gold mine. Also needs to send the Sky Passage up to the top here. And he's going to be able to lock off that top position while also getting himself the Oracles in. Super important as we are seeing these Caraballis again. Just a little bit of damage onto those Berserks, but good pullback from Zuklo. The Temple looks like it will be going down. Zuklo is going to be able to get to the Heroic Age here, which does give Darthnox a huge timing to get in and get damage done. Now, even if Zuklo gets the Heroic Age, it shouldn't really be that scary for Darthnox. He's got himself Shockwave, he's got himself Carnivora. That can be enough to slow the Flaming Weapons attack down, and you can just run away from that Flaming Weapons. Plus, you've also got the options of Sky Passages as well. But Zuklo, I don't mind it. Darthnox is pulled back. He doesn't have much more that he can do here. Zuklo is going to get his Bragi in. He's going to be able to get over onto this spot. I imagine as soon as the Bragi hits, Darthnox is going to say, all right, let's charge forward. And then, of course, he can just sack his Caraballister on the retreat, or at least get a little bit of damage off on the retreat. That's a Heroic Age God Power down, and he can continue to fight in this game. Meanwhile, little cheeky attempts at raids to come through as Zuklo are going to be leaving his base, but there are 2 Caraballister and a handful of units here as Darthnox is spotting this. His units up onto the top side. There's already Throw-in Axeman in aplenty here, so these Murmillo will not be able to get through. And I imagine Zuklo is going to try and get himself up a hill fort in that position, as now the Hyperion is pre-queued. Darthnox is out in the middle of nowhere with 4 citizens, but he can simply garrison into his manners. He should not lose anything just yet. And just going to be chasing these units back as Zuklo is now going to grab himself up to Call of Valhalla. Also getting himself the medium infantry so he can just get a little bit more value out of his Berserks. He's also got himself the Temple so he can make some battle balls or something if he really wants to. But oftentimes it's kind of a little bit more important to just find that favor into maybe a healing spring or extra flaming weapons in this matchup, extra dwarven mines or something like that as well. It's often done here as Darthnox is pulling back for the time being. I'm not sure exactly what his plan is here. As the Corvallis are getting caught out, you don't want to be losing these, especially not with flaming weapons getting down as Shockwave gets dropped down, but the other Corvallis are going to be going down as well. Caladria flying overhead, not keeping these guys alive in the slightest, and Darthnox sacks 3 Corvallis for free there, as his Hyperion is now coming through, and Zucolo is saying, you don't have your heroic agent, buddy. Let's go. I've got the Norse power coming directly in. Now also no Shockwave as well is going to be absolutely brutal for these Murmillos, as the Carnivora gets dropped in onto the back line there, throwing Axeman over here as well. Shockwave not available, but at the very least, some damage is going to be coming through. Darthnox going to be diving in to the town center. As I mean, this can't be a good flaming weapons for Zucolo, right? There's a town, like the units are all going to be still alive. The citizens here not pulling up to the top position. Loses one, not the biggest of deals after this flaming weapons does expire. There's going to be watchtowers to come through, as well as the citizens over here do all go down. This is a really nice trade here for Zucolo after all is said and done, as the units pop out. Watchtowers now up. The army in the main base will end up going down as the heroes diving through the town center to try and get over onto the troll here. After all is said and done, 73 pop to 67 population. You will see the satyr popping out. And the game will continue along. But who comes out in front on that one? Being behind on citizens as Atlantean is never ideal. There's still access to the Caladria for heals on a fight like this. The throw and axe for numbers are a little bit on the low side for Zucolo. And there is also a Chaos available at some point here for Darthnox. He doesn't want to throw it down on here because it seems a little bit underwhelming, a little bit lackluster. Zucolo going to pull back to his main base now. A little bit of shoot and scoot shenanigans. Oh, and the army does manage to find some hunt villagers. What is Zucolo doing out on this position? He's about to lose everything. There's a shockwave as well. I don't think Zucolo is getting back in past this gate here. If I am Darthnox, we're clicking shockwave on this every single time. He does manage to get back in here. The wall's going to get broken down inside the main base here as well. Looks like Zucolo just doesn't have anything. He's lost all of his military, and Darthnox is in a commanding position all of a sudden. As the Chaos does get dropped down, that's going to allow the Hero Murmillos to take out the Battle Ball incredibly quickly. You can see how long the Chaos lasts when used on just one unit there. As Zucolo is left darting around the map, he's just not going to be able to hold any longer here. I don't think, I mean, even at this point, Zucolo should be worried about the gold mine getting taken out, but Darthnox doesn't even need to leave this position. He's got the 2 Caladria to heal up his units that are getting hit by the town center. There's no military here. What else can Zucolo do? I mean, he's just got nothing left. He's just going to be losing villagers non-stop. The town center, like I said, it's just not going to be doing damage because there's Caladria. Of course, as I say that, a Terma dies. But still, Zucolo, what else can he do? He's going to be losing his longhouses on the front. Darthnox up to the top side. Searching around. Over onto the backside, some cheeky Dryad, not Dryads. Satyr going to be attempting to poke through over here and take out the villagers on this side. Big amount of special damage onto all of them, but the rest will get into the tower and get back to safety. But now it's a 50 villager to 32 villager, 31 villager differential. Zucolo could potentially move up to the top side, I guess, and try and defend up here a little bit, but life is going to be very tough. I'm surprised he's not on this hunt here as well. That would be the place that's very, very safe to be. You can always run through the wall there. Villagers up to the top side as well. Darthnox playing this Uranus almost exactly like you would play Gaia to some degree, except with Hyperion as well. No Sky Passages really seen yet. Is he going to be dropping 2 down? But the game, not over just yet. Zookla going to be fighting it out. You've always got somewhat of a shot here as Norse versus Atlantean. You've always got somewhat of a shot. Atlantean players, they generally have somewhat of an advantage. So playing from behind, you know, you can micro a little bit. You can deal with it. This Darthnox going to be moving up onto this side. Going to push through here, break through the wall, see what he can do. Meanwhile, a hill fort attempting to come up over here with 15 seconds remaining on it as the wall going to get broken down. We see the Carnivora coming through, going to eat one, throw an Axeman. Zuklo attempting to desperately finish this one up. A Shockwave will easily deny this hill fort from getting finished up as Zuklo does pull off it to take the fight. But look at the army differential here. 4.4k to 2k. And Zuklo, in that moment, will tap out as Darthnox claims the first win in this best of 5 series. And I figured out exactly what I did here, and everything is going to come back to normal as we fix this all. I shouldn't be doing this here, should I? Anyways, the first game. What am I doing? All right, we're just gonna click a button here. We're gonna go to an intermission. I'm gonna fix this up, and we're gonna be right back with game 2. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Into game number 2 in the left-hand corner, we've got ourselves Darthnox playing as Shenong. And Zukalo, not off to the best start in the world, playing as Hades here. Ooh, did he misposition the storehouse? I feel like he may have. Oh, he didn't. Oh, God, that's lucky. This is the worst feeling. It's not the biggest of deals. I mean, it is, but it's not like game ending or anything. It's just really frustrating. And the like the mental toll that you take from dropping a storehouse in the wrong spot, and then the villager's not gonna be able to get in and all be hyper efficient. The mental toll is pretty fierce. But let's talk about this map, as it's the first time we're gonna be seeing it on this stream. Other people have picked it through the tournament thus far. So if you go back and watch some of the other qualifier games, you will notice it. However, let's have a little check here. The backside does have 8 fish. So you can get these fish. It's very, very difficult to contest this unless you're playing like a god like Isis, or you have a flying unit that can get in and harass this, like Gaia. Get in with the Stymphalian birds or something and attack this. You've also got the side fish, which also has 8 fish here. This is contestable. Very, very simple. Very similar to an Anatolia-like distance from your hometown center. No problems there. What is interesting is that both players decide to go for the back fish first. Now, my guesstimation on this is because it's impossible for my opponent to take my fish on the back here, or very, very difficult. I mean, maybe like a Kronos could, but very, very difficult to take my back fish here. Holy moly, thank you for the gifted subs. I am just obscure. Appreciate you, my friend. You're a legend. because it's so difficult to take this fish, why not just go for the middle fish first, is my contention. Now, obviously, these guys have practiced. They probably tried this stuff. Maybe there's some risks involved in doing that type of thing. But effectively, after you put up your second dock, you're going to be wanting the fish anyway. So you could open dock here, and grab 8 fish from both sides, or even 16 fish from both sides before your opponent even gets there, and then pop your dock on the back and get another 8 fish, netting you 24 fish to 8, which is a gigantic advantage, right? But neither player opting to do that. In fact, neither player opting to go for the middle at all at the moment. At all. Temple coming down for Darth Nox over here. There are some relics on the map. Let's have a little cheeky look. We've got the Dwarven Horseshoes, improves cavalry speed, plus 5%. Over onto the bottom here, there is the Scales of Echidna. Myth units are cheaper, minus 15% of each. Up to the top side there as well, we've got the Ogre Bitten Helm. This one's going to be hit points plus 10% for the heroes. And to the very top of the map, Tusk of the Iron Boar, plus 10% cavalry hit points. So, funnily enough, if Darth Nox can get both those relics on the top side and the bottom side of the map, all of a sudden, he gets to roleplay as a kind of hybrid Nouveau with the cavalry bonus, while also having his Shenong strengths. So he's going to be able to actually build himself some really, really strong White Horse Cav or Tiger Cav in this one. As Zucolo actually looking like he's going for a very quick second town center behind this. I quite like this. This is a really, really interesting idea. He's got 2 back gold mines here. A nice quick second town center leads to a lot of security. 1 town center aggro plays here from Shenong are normally pretty slow, so you can generally pay them off even with somewhat of a fish boost, as we do see a dock coming up now in the middle of the map from Darth Nox. As these villagers will have to pop from one side of the map to the other side. Meanwhile, over onto this side, the Minotaur coming through here, and is going to start whacking these units and all the other good stuff. Does manage to pick off 1 villager there, as the town center will end up finishing up for Zucolo. Darth Nox gets the information, but what's he going to go for? I mean, the angle of like maybe a quick new bar here makes some sense. You've got a bit of a boosted favor generation rate from your docks over here. Could go into a whole bunch of those Tautiers to try and break some stuff. But we'll see. We'll see what Darth Nox is going to be attempting to go with. As some walls up onto the back. Darth Nox is Zuko, excuse me. He's just going to now start to get a dock up and start grabbing himself some extra fish to get even more economy going here. You have to remember, he's only just going to be getting himself now per scene. So his 8 fish turn into, like, I guess 12-ish unupgraded fishing ships with that technology. So that's going to help out his food situation, which is in a bit of a struggle town. And then he's also going to be able to get these fishing spots over here as well slowly. Darth Nox, on the other hand, just continuing to do fishing shenanigans here as well. And it does look like he is going for a fast heroic. There's another interesting idea maybe for Darth Nox to try here. We'll see if he's going to do it. He still has that option with a fast heroic. He could go straight to the Mythic Age because you got the food boost from... I would love to have all the fish already grabbed. If he had at least 16 here, he'd have a gigantic food boost, which would allow him to basically race to the Mythic Age, and then he can use the Drought plus Great Flood to kill off basically everything. Basically kill off everything, and then he's going to be in a really, really good position, right? You can kill off the town center, you kill off everything else. He's going for the Rushol angle at the moment. A Machine Workshop coming down. Machine Workshop, military camp. He's going to be starting to mass up an army and looking for somewhat of a push here. Double archery rangers coming through as well on the back. Zucolo deciding an extra dock over here as well. More docks coming down. He's just playing. This is such a slow angle from Zucolo. Of course, he's playing Hades, and it's like a defensive god. You don't really want to deal. You don't really want to deal with all too much. But how do I put this? If you're just going to play defense, you can play slow, but you got to be very active on the scouting. You really got to know what your opponent's doing. And Zucolo here, he's taking a risk moving forward, but it's a great risk. He's going to be able to actually get some economic damage in, as Darth Nox is really doesn't have anything out just yet. In fact, what is he really going to... He's going to lose a villager as well. What is he really going to do to defend against all of this stuff? He needs to get units out, Dow swordsmen, some heroes. This Kwafu is going to be caught out as well. As the army going to attempt to chase this down? But the rush roll will be in. That's going to be the Baihu as a free myth unit. So you can go in there and at least get some villager kills with that one. Kwafu going down. That's so gigantic. And he buys himself a military camp with a tower attachment here as well. That's absolutely wild. A gigantic spend from Darth Nox. As Darth Nox is just looking like he's somewhat out of sorts in this matchup on this map. Meanwhile, Chongqi on the back here from Darth Nox is going to be getting cleaned up. And there's the Aphrodite pre-queued from Zucolo. As, of course, if he keeps this town center advantage with the villager advantage that he's got, and gets the heroic age without losing anything, the advantage that Zucolo gets in the matchup is just insane. Because he can click Curse, that pays for his heroic age to some degree, gets himself a Nemean Lion, gets himself free ballistics, can get into his Peltas to take out any sort of ranged units here from Darth Nox. Meanwhile, Zucolo Military Academy coming through. Now seeing an attempt at a cheeky little wall over here from Zucolo, but Darth Nox spots it. So the dock is spotted. We are seeing some actual boats coming through here. The Pentaconta, Trireme as well. Pentaconta picking off a citizen or a villager here would be wild. Unfortunately, it's not targeting the peasant. Instead, going after a myth unit, and Zucolo misses that one as Darth Nox is going to sit on this spot for even longer. We'll be able to take this down. No real advantages here from Zucolo. In fact, he lost a villager for this and the dock and everything else. But he does keep the army at bay. He does keep this army at bay for sure. Up onto the top side here, the Bears. What are they doing? Get them out of here. No problems. Aphrodite will come through, and then there's just going to be an immediate fortress. To some degree here, Zucolo can literally just walk forward and drop the fortress in on this spot, and then he can put his sentinels down, and he can start looking to siege this, because he's not even behind on military. It's 2 TC versus 1 TC, not behind on military. Nearly a 20 villager advantage for Zucolo in this moment. As he wanders over here with his villagers, there is, of course, Fey Beasts available, but on the flip side, there's going to be a restoration here to combat this as he charges in. There's the curse coming down. The Fey Beast will be able to run away. Never chase the singed is the rule, but a little bit of chasing here as now lightning weapons as well getting dropped in, and no retreat from Zucolo as he's going to be attempting to hold this position. And it looks like he's got more than enough to make it work. Zucolo gets himself up his fortress. The medium Chukonu, not going to be that useful either. And then I imagine immediately here, you can just straight ahead go into Petropolis. The other angle is to go straight to the Mythic Age, enjoy having Hephaestus, full upgrades, and then your army just becomes somewhat unkillable. As Zuklo also moving up to the top corner. Nice fundamental play here, getting his walls, locking off that position. Darthnox going to be dropping his own ballet at the top. You notice that some relics have been picked up, and we do have the Ogre Bitten Helm and Tusk of the Iron Boar for Zuklo in. Meanwhile, Gilded Shields coming through for Darthnox as he wants to make use of as many of these Dow Swordsmen as he possibly can. Up onto the top here as well. There is the Skylar coming in as Zuklo just continuing to cause problems for Darthnox. This is what I was kind of saying at the start of the series, is that Zuklo is an APM player. These maps here with the water on the sides and all that other stuff, all of this stuff is just like, he's got so much time because he's so fast. He gets so much done. As Darthnox is just poking it onto this side, looking for any sort of problems that he can manage to deal with. Like, he just wants to poke in and find some damage, but there's nowhere apart from here. So the only real spot here the only real risk that Zuklo is taking, he doesn't even need to take that risk, but he's sitting there. Hephaestus is the god of choice. Zuklo is taking the very safe option, not going for a big heroic age siege. However, Wang Di not super far behind here. The only issue is that Zuklo, he hasn't gotten himself golden apples, but I was going to say he's going to be able to get to 100 favor really, really quickly. He's got 10 villages on favor. If he grabs golden apples, he's going to be up to 100 favor very soon. Another restoration does mean that the Qinglong, the Yinglong is not going to be that effective. You just click restoration when he zooms in, and then your heroes and archers are going to be able to take him out. So now the Petropolis sieging away at this ballet. We've got those back medium Chukonu. They are somewhat scary, but I mean, Darthnox is not Darthnox. Zuklo has Peltas. Not that many, but enough here to slowly stake these out. You have to remember that the Chukonu are a 3 population unit. They do damage like a 3 population archer does, but they're sitting inside of like what a 2 population unit looks like. So the size of the Darthnox army is a little bit more of a blob than you would expect. As Plenty Vault comes down there for Zuklo, and he's got himself his Colossus. He's getting himself his armory upgrades immediately. He's got all 3 armories, or he's only got 2 armories, excuse me. But he will be grabbing those upgrades very, very quickly. And Zuklo, I must say, is in a commanding position here. And he is grabbing himself the Golden Apples technology. For some reason out of the town center. But nonetheless, he's grabbing it. Now the Mythic Age for Darthnox to come through. Wang Di is in. There will be a big fat dragon to come in. But I mean, you've still got Chiron, Ajax. There's also Perseus that can get built out and is in fact coming through. That's the Yinglong to come in. But where? Where did he go with it? Oh, the Yinglong over here to try and take out the Colossus. It's going to be spending a very, very long time to take this bad boy out. Does 40 divine damage every 2 seconds. That's a lot of HP on that Colossus there. Will eventually go down, but misses out on so much value over here. The champion unit's in for Zuklo. The fight coming through. And this is going to be lights out, I think, for Darthnox's army. As the Petropoli going to take everything out behind this. And Darthnox in the 16th minute of this game, 17th minute of this game, will tap out, and Zuklo does manage to equalize. Some incredibly solid Hades play. I have to say, Darthnox scouted the second town center. You have to know that this map has got these back gold mines on it. Now, if you want to play aggressive, you can. Dock, transport, in onto the back. These gold mines are not safe by any stretch of the imagination from a creative player. But Darthnox went for this weird fast heroic, got there at the same time roughly as, or not the same time, got there pretty early, but didn't do anything with it. Took damage while he went to the heroic age. And he just could not quite make this one work. In fact, I feel like had Darthnox had grabbed all of his fish here and also taken this side, as Zucolo went for the town center, he would have been in a much, much better position. Economically speaking, he probably would have been in the heroic age faster. He probably wouldn't have taken any damage from that initial attack because he would have already had units out. And then maybe, just maybe, he can make a big fat push back and actually do what he wanted to do. But a little bit of, how do you say, like, uncoordinated play from Darthnox, and Zucolo manages a very simple defense here. We'll jump back over to the draft, see what they're going to pick for game number 3, and see what see if Darthnox can get it together after a really nice start, but falling in that second one. Off we go into game number 3 on the top of the map here. Now we have the Amaterasu from Darthnox, and in the bottom of the map, we've got ourselves Zucolo as the red Ra. Like I was saying before the game, the big special thing about this map, besides the fact that both of the players spawn incredibly close together, is the fact that there is a big, fat forest behind the town center. Big, fat forest behind the town center. Of course, you can simply walk around here and grab the town center. There's no problems with doing that. It's probably around about the same distance as it would normally be to walk to your like third town center, so to speak. So it's a little bit further than you would normally want to walk to a second town center. You can still do it. You see people grabbing third town center sort of settlements all the time, right? But the more important thing here is that Zucolo can go. He can pick this town center. He could pick this town center. He could pick this town center. He could pick this town. It doesn't matter because he can just go there and it's far away from the starting position that Darthnox is in. Now, what Darthnox has here is he's got the ability to use his Kamikaze to just be anywhere on the map and be ready to raid on the backsides. Now, you do have options here to just wall everything off. So for example, if you grab the town center here, you can wall off this, you can wall off this, you can wall off this, and then all of a sudden he's going to be pretty safe to all of that pressure. But we'll see how it's all going to go. We'll see how it's all going to go. But definitely against the Amaterasu, you do want to be playing a defensive game here, I think, from the Ra side of things. A completely different angle here for Zucolo could be to actually go fast, go in for a whole bunch of Sphinx, and use those in a similar way that the Kamatachi are being used, just to raid, just to keep Darthnox in his main base, and then you can play for the second gold mines, which spawn either side of the play here. So there's so many different options. And of course, the other big weakness there for Egyptians on this map is if you don't have the shifting sands to get out, actually, it's not that big of an advantage. I'll talk about it. But you can't really chop through all this wood very quickly because you don't have that much spend early game on wood. You do, however, have the rock. So you can use that to escape and get over to the backside. So there's lots and lots of different options where that's concerned. As Amino Uzume is going to be coming through a little bit on the late side here from Darthnox, I'd say. If we're playing a really small map like this, I would often be thinking very fast advance makes sense because you're going to be in your opponent's base really quickly and you're going to be able to hurt them. But after all is said and done here, Zucolo, pretty quick advance. Not really, kind of slow. He's going to get away with it. Darthnox, not the fastest advance, not going to be able to do a whole lot. One thing here that Zucolo can do is he could shoot the deer underneath his main town center, and then he doesn't have to really worry about the weasels coming in and killing him because he can just garrison into the town center, no problems, while he waits out the solar shield. But if he's out on this side here, then of course that's going to be somewhat of an issue. Meanwhile, wow, that is the earliest of walls coming up from Zucolo. I really like this. Very early on, getting these walls in. And then what? Monument to the Soldiers coming up. The Kamatachi is on the way. A second one is already in queue here. Not going for the upgrade. Instead, just going to get 2 out and get ready to pressure. Of course, the Pharaoh is here to defend. You can heal up the villagers. You can attack the Kamatachi. No problems. Meanwhile, up onto the top here, Darth Nox has spotted this. Now, Zucolo can do some gate shenanigans here by walking from one side to the other. I like taking the wooden wall down as well. Actually, I don't know if he can. This wall here, yeah, this wall's only 9 costing. This one's 15, right? You need a 15 gold wall to actually get this wall. Another villager getting sent. Hello? Zucolo, the madman. That's 2 villagers down already. 2 villagers down already. No usages of the solar shield at all. And Darth Nox has now secured himself legitimately an insane advantage in this game. Axeman, Spearman coming out though for Zucolo. We'll see if he can put some pressure back on. One of the big advantages here for Zucolo is the fact that he doesn't have really any weaknesses with these Wadgets. They're really, really strong if you've got position, right? If you got position, if you don't get surrounded, if you don't get collapsed in onto. On top of that, because he's got the position here in the center, he can start poking the enemy villagers here, no problems. So Darth Nox is going to attempt to grab as many of these berry bushes as he possibly can, but what Zucolo can do now is he can run the Wadgets forward, and I'm pretty sure it's 3 shots. It might be 4, but if he gets 3 shots off onto one of these villagers, the poison will kill the villager. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I think I'm wrong on that. Maybe it's 4 shots. Nonetheless, the Weasel here getting that perfect usage of Solar Shield. Is there enough stuff here? It's looking like there's more than enough stuff here from Darth Nox. Zucolo losing all of his Wadgets here. The Bushy in as well. That Kamatachi surviving forever because of the Solar Shield finally does end up going down. But Darth Nox wins that fight so obscenely fast here. And Zucolo has to pull back into his main base. Now, Slinger's going to come out. There's still this shifting sands idea from Zucolo. So there is like a world where he just keeps playing regardless of what's happening. But that fight was not it for Zucolo in the slightest. He's going to throw an armory down. And then what? Like, he wanted to get onto the villages, but like, Darth Nox too strong there. Is this a buff a Wadgets angle? I don't think so. I think it's a user error problem. Oh dear. But we'll see what Zucolo can do. He's popping up around the map. He's still got some units here that are going to be very, very strong. The Slinger's obviously very good versus those Yumi archers. Such a mismatch of units though, and the Samurai are so good that they don't really need the micro. They're going to be fine if they hit Axeman. They're going to be fine if they hit the Spearman. Whereas the Axemen have to hit the Spearman. Sorry, the Axemen have to hit the Samurai. The Spearmen have to hit the Cavalry. There's now Zucolo back in for another attempt at this pressure. Random pigs just wandering around the map. As Darth Nox is going to send a little raiding party off into potentially the main base. Though the Slingers over here will get spotted. They do dodge that special attack from the Kamatachi. But he's going to be able to get away without too many losses here. But every little bit of damage here hurts so much. There's still more Wadgets coming through. Answer no. I mean, he's getting himself upgrades for farms and stuff like that. Now yet again going to attempt to get his wall back up onto the top. Obelisk coming through here as well. And Darth Nox wandering forward. And the army differential is just absolutely gigantic here. Like he sees the army and it doesn't look that big because there's 8 samurai. And samurai costs 4 population. So when you see 8 samurai, you have to imagine you're seeing 16 infantry units there. So yet again, Darth Nox with the perfect usage of Solar Shield there to keep the Kamatachi in the fight for as long as possible. The front line melts. And Zucolo, I think he is just absolutely... He shot his shot and it has not worked out for him here. I'm not sure what else he can really do while staying in the classical age. Gets to the heroic age, at the very least he can start microing chariot archers. But now this army of Darth Nox realizes how much of an advantage it has. Charging into the main base here, taking out so many units. The slingers can start doing some garrison shenanigans and things like that, but there's just nothing really left here. 620 resource military count versus 2.9k military count as villages are also going to start to fall. More samurai coming in, and Darth Nox just does not care about this town center. And on the other side, Zucolo's got no gold in the bank, so he can't upgrade his towers. I don't think Darth Nox is ever going to need to leave this base anymore. Units will pop out and they're going to insta-die. There's the villagers over here attempting to make a run for it, but they will end up going down. We're just popping out over here. They will be able to get a quick snipe onto the samurai before diving back in. He doesn't have himself Skin of the Rhino, so no significant upgrades or anything like that. And Zucolo in that moment does tap out. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was a game and a half there. Zucolo, he went for the Wadjet pressure, but I think he went a little bit early maybe. Like if you have 4 Wadjets, and you have a big fat army, and you get the obelisk up and you just creep forward, your opponent to charge forward into you takes so much damage from the range of those Wadjets that oftentimes you're already winning the fight before it starts. But in this situation, Zucolo just went super hard, super fast. He also lost so much economy here. 2 villages down plus the walls. Brutal on the early game. So that put him behind as well. And I think he realized that he was trying to make something happen early. Just could not get it together. Nonetheless, Darth Nox now on match point. If he wins this one, he goes into the winner's bracket. We'll see if Zucolo can strike back here. This has been a pretty decisive series so far in terms of the victor of each game. It's been a domination from Darth Nox, then a domination from Zucolo, then a domination from Darth Nox. We'll see if it's going to keep going that way or not. Let's jump back over to the drafting scene and see what they're going to pick for game number 4. Here we go into the 4th game of the series. This is match point for Darth Nox, and we are already seeing something very interesting from the side of Darth Nox. No dock. No dock start from Darth Nox as he spawns in as the Blue Noir. On the left side of the map for Zucolo, he does decide to go for the starting dock. Now, you can do a build which is effectively 2 fishing ships and that's it with set. No problems. Completely fine. Works lovely. You can get a quick advance in. You can then go for the town center. It's totally fine. Alternatively, you can go for a gigantic dock spam and be in a really good position economically speaking. I've heard many different people talking about the effectiveness of this. Like say if you play Greek, I have to spend 100 wood on the dock. I have to spend 100 wood on the 2 fishing ships. That's 200 resources for effectively 2 villagers, which is a big spend, plus the idle time of the villager building the docks. So let's just add another 50 to 100 resources onto that. Or maybe 50 resources onto that. So it is a big spend to get these docks up, but it's free food, infinite food for the rest of the game. That is really, really big. Whereas if you go for the town center route, you're going to have to put farms down eventually. That's going to be a little bit difficult to do, right? But we'll see. We'll see what the plan is here for Darth Nox. He's going to be actually not going for the hero Kwafu. This is the second time I've seen this. People not going for hero Kwafu with Nuwa. Is this now standard? I don't really know. He's going for 2 Kwafu. I think this is a very specific build from China, which allows you to have 3 Kwafu and a pretty fast advance time. I could be wrong on that, but that's what he's going for. And I imagine there's going to be a second town center coming in after this. I don't really, unless you go for a chillin' rush, which does make sense. Nice fast advance, 0 spend on the favor, and then you get chillin' in and you rush your opponent with those. That makes some sense, but if you're just going to go for the Kwafu opening, I think it has to be a second town center, as we do have Hal 2 coming through. Another angle is to get the quick advance in, and we are actually going to see this. Quick advance in and then spam docks, which is really, 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 really interesting. Zuglo on the other side here, he's scouting. He's seen 0 docks up, so that's going to give him somewhat of an idea of what's going on. But yeah, this is... I'm super confused. I really am. I don't know what the plan here is for Darth Nox. This is not something that I would have even considered to try, which is like a somewhat of an economic boom. It's a delayed docks, delayed fish. You can see Zuklo's already up to his 3rd dock getting started here. He's got himself his fish popping out. He's going to the next age quickly. He's going to be able to go for a town center himself if he wants to. Lots and lots of different options. He's got himself pickaxe in as well, super quick. And his monument to the soldiers is going to be coming through. The other option would have been, I think, for Noir, is like I was saying in the early game, drop creation and then you can pump the docks up. The other option would be to get to the classical age, then drop creation. You got 4 villagers that can pump up those docks really, really quickly for you as well. That could be another sort of idea. Unless the Cheongchi gonna be coming through, flying overhead and doing its thing. And there goes the vision from Zuklo as, wow, he really didn't get the information that he wanted here. Doesn't see the docks, doesn't see anything, doesn't see any military buildings. You're going to be looking at this thing going, ooh, he's got 4 villages on food. He's got the Kwafu up onto the top. What is he going for? A couple of spearmen now starting to come out for Zuklo as well, as maybe you can look to block a second town center, but Darth Nox is not going for that in the slightest. He might even be just going for like some weird fast heroic with fishing ships getting built instead of the dock. I don't know what that is, but he might be going for that into a whole bunch of raiders, like a whole bunch of White Horse cavalry. Another dock up over here. There's more fishing ships to come in. And all the animals here that have been converted. The poor snow monkeys have set. They just all get picked off. They're all killed. And he's like, all right, go villagers. Do your thing. As Zuklo now going to start to look for his raids. He does know that he has somewhere to attack over here, but they have moved from that position. Take a look at what he's actually seen. Doesn't know that the villagers are here. He knows there's stuff onto the backside there, but whether you want to go onto that or not, I don't know. Some more houses from Darth Nox to come down, and you see the clairvoyance technology, more spearmen. And they do pop in here. as Darthnox does need to somewhat react to this. The Spearmen, do they manage to get a villager pick here? Answer no. No vill pick, but not really taking any damage from the town center with some good control. Charging up to the top here, trying to find some more villager kills. The earth wall gets dropped down. Do you want to kill the villager or do you want to get out of here is the question. That is the question. He's got to pop up here and he's going to take out the earth wall. He finds another villager to snipe. Maybe it doesn't matter. Watchtowers is now in. And these spearmen are just going to continue to run around this position, trying to find their escape here. There is no escape, as the wall will be finishing up in 3 seconds. It gains 50% armor, so there's a little bit of damage in. Turning around and trying to at least take out the Pioneer. A bit of a sacrifice. Getting a couple of resources back for this. But the spearmen will go down. And the raid, how successful? 5-6 spearmen for a Pioneer and 2 peasants. Seems pretty good, if you ask me. Meanwhile, behind this, Zuklo now says it's time for Sekhmet as he's going for another dock up onto this side. Can't take any of this position though. Oh, he's actually, no. Sure. I would never. Of course, you build the war barge. Your opponent has to garrison the fish. Then your fish can steal his fish. Right? Sort of makes sense. Now these fishing spots can go over to Zukalo, and that forces... He's building a Meng Chong? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I genuinely did not. I do not believe that we're having a world where 2 fish is being fought over. I do not believe another dock coming up over here. Oh my god, that's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Just send units up there and kill the dock. The villager does get spotted, does go down. Citadel now up. Migdol's stronghold going to be coming up over here to secure the gold mine. And Darthnox decides to actually go for Rushol here. Darthnox decides Rushol. I would expect, as you'd have the hero Kwafu out, I would expect to see here most of the time the Golmang minor god, which gives you access to stronger cavalry with Nuwa. But instead, wants that Rushol, making stronger infantry as his sort of focus here. And he is indeed grabbing himself the medium infantry, making fire archers, and all the other good stuff. Darthnox making a little bit of a move forward, maybe a tiny bit too early, but it might be linking up nicely. There's only one hero in this army, so Fey Beasts will be really valuable here. As he runs away from this, he's not going to be dropping the Fey Beast, it looks like. Just get back home. I think it would be a nice usage. You pick off a whole bunch of units, but instead holds on to it. No problems. For the moment here, let's just do a little quick stock take on the fishing ship situation. There's 12 for Zukalo. There's 7 for Darthnox. These 2 actually have been idle the entire time. Darthnox has not put them back out. They're struggling a little bit with the idle units there, as Zukalo not quite able to pull through here. And Fey Beast will come in, and this is going to take out the entirety of this Zukalo army. That's a huge move for Darthnox here. But Townsend are coming up behind this. No real pushing power for Darthnox at the moment. So he picks off all the units, but is he going to be able to take out this town center? Maybe, probably not. Town center 2 seconds from completion does end up going up. Villagers going to garrison in. Now the army for Darthnox needs to pull back. Yeah, there was shifting sand, so Zucolo could have just shifted the army. He probably still would have lost a couple, like the slingers, but the rest might have survived. Meanwhile, is this a market? Yeah, market coming out. There's so much food for Zucolo. I don't think he even needs to have villagers on food at the moment. He's got 15 villages with 12 fishing ships and 3 villages on food, but he's got so much. He's not spending where that's concerned. Now elephants starting to come through. One really, really surprisingly strong composition for Egyptian versus China is Elephant Slinger. And you might be like, boy, why would I go Elephant Slinger? That's just like doubling down on picking off my enemy archers. Aren't they just not going to build archers if they see that? And I say to you, well, the elephants are an insane tank. Slingers with Sekhmet they get bonus damage versus infantry there. So all of a sudden, your opponent can't really make infantry, can't really make archers, and the elephant are tanking up enough against cavalry that it's totally fine. Your slingers get the damage off, and it works. But that being said, Zucolo does have to play some defense here as Darth Nox is threatening a lot of damage to come through onto this town center. Who does end up going down. It's going to be a difficult fight to win here. You're fighting underneath the Migdol Stronghold Town Center and a pretty nice amount of units with basically 0 infantry. So those fire archers don't really do a whole lot. But we'll see if Zucolo can micro this one. His elephant over here tanking up a fair bit. Town Center still getting into that damage. The Dow Swordsmen are going to be getting picked off, and Darth Nox does need to pull back for the time being. Now Zucolo will just prepare himself back up, and he kind of just pulls himself back into this game with that sort of engagement there from Darth Nox. If Darth Nox took it a little bit slower, grabbed his town centers maybe, played for a little bit later in the game, he probably could have ridden the advantage he got from Fey Beast a little more. But in trading back then, I'm not sure there's much of an advantage remaining here, as now Zucolo is going to start up with his Chariot Archer micro. This is what makes these units so strong. Generally, making White Horse Cavalry or Tiger Cav is your answer here. You can go in for Javelineers, but Zucolo is just going to continue to take unit after unit after unit out. We will see Bone Bow as well in the queue, which turns those 19 range chariots, already a lot, into 21 range. And then what? Does he have a Javelin in here? Javelineer in? No Javelineer in. Zucolo, a little bit of... Oh, there is one here. These are at 17 at medium. So they'll go 17, 18, 19 when they get to champion. But the Chariot Archers are going to be able to space for the rest of the game with really good control. And Zucolo does have that ability. Darth Nox going to be attempting to deal with this, though, with the Gong Gong as the villagers moving up to the top side. A ballet on this side. This actually doesn't protect the villagers. It doesn't protect the villagers at all. Zucolo is just going to be able to shoot and scoot here non-stop, continue to pick off units, but then also be able to pick off villagers if the army runs away. Darth Nox is in a really, really bad position now. There's no way to defend this. The houses are in the wrong spot. The ballet needs to be flipped. Chariot Archer is going to be erasing villagers as the army has to now take a fight, and it's just impossible to win this fight. He's coming in with the one White Horse Cavalry. That's not going to do anything. In fact, Zucolo, if he wants to, he can send the rest of this army up here. He's got such a crazy advantage now. And you can see the White Horse Cavalry comes in, gets 2 shots off, and then he's out of there. And every unit is just dying in one volley from this shoot and scoot from Zucolo. I really like that he's taking his time with it, using the speed of the Chariot Archer. They have 5 speed. You don't have to shoot at exactly 1.5 speed. You can shoot, go 2 seconds of running, shoot, 2 seconds of running, and you're always going to stay out of range. A couple more White Horse Cavalry do manage to come through. Dark Nox does actually manage to prevent his villagers from suffering any more losses, but Thoth is on the way. And Dark Nox in that moment does decide to tap out as Zukalo is just seemingly too far in front. He doesn't want to fight it out. The score differential is ridiculously big. And it's just going to be a little bit too much for him, it seems. So he taps out, and Zukalo does manage to force a game number 5 here today, ladies and gentlemen. A nice little force here. Nice win from Zukalo. Got to feel good, but yet again, this is the 4th game where it's feeling like one player just outclassed the other player really, really badly. Like, it's been very one-sided games thus far, even though the score is 2-2. So we move into the final game. That both players have got 2 gods left in their pool to pick from. Let's jump back over to the draft and see what options they've got. Alrighty, so the set 1. There's Zeus and Tsukiyomi for Zukalo. Darth Nox has got Fushi and Poseidon. So some pretty strong gods at the moment. So what's going to be the picks? It's going to be a Tsukiyomi versus Fushi matchup here on the final map, which is Dry Arabia. Now, Dry Arabia is a really, really nice, big, defensive map. And what does that mean? Well, it means you can play defense. You can play 2 TC ideas. You don't have to kind of sit there and play these sort of Tsukiyomi style all-ins. Like, you don't have to do that. But is Darth Nox going to be able to play the defense here? He's picked China 3 times in this series, and every single time he's picked China, he has not been able to convert. He's not been able to convert. So, if we had to give the momentum to someone going into game 5, yes, Zukalo just won, but on top of that, Darth Nox hasn't found a victory with the Chinese gods in the Chinese pantheon just yet. So Zukalo is he's gonna get into this game. He's gonna be having the advantage. Not only that, Zukalo is on Tsukiyomi, and what does Tsukiyomi give? Cavalry. Every single time in this series thus far that Zukalo's had an advantage has been from some type. No, actually, that's a lie. He won with the Hades. But some type of hyper multitasking type ideas. The Hades kind of just played defense, but when he did Unleash, he started making Scarlet on the top while doing a whole bunch of other stuff, while walling up. The Ra didn't go well because he wasn't playing multitasking. He was in one sort of area. The Thor didn't really play well because he was on the defense and he wasn't able to really affect the game with his multitasking. Now he gets Tsukiyomi. He's going to have the advantage with the speed early on. He can get himself double Kitsune with the Naginata Riders to start raiding the Fushi. It's very tough to defend this sort of stuff as China. But it's time now to jump into our 5th game of our first series of the day. Zukalo Darth Nox, player who wins this one, takes it. We're in onto the map, Dry Arabia. Let's check it. Here we go, game number 5. Darth Nox in the right-hand corner of the map. playing as the blue Fu Shi. In the left-hand corner of the map, in the red color, we have Zukalo as the Tsukiyomi player. It's been a series thus far, a series that can only really be described as a series of domination. Either Zukalo is dominated or Darth Nox is dominated. Is this going to be one of those series where, or one of these games now where things really go well for one of these players? Or is it going to be one of those ones which is a very tight fight for the entirety of this game? That's the big question. Now, Tsukiyomi in the last tournament was a really big prio pick, was one of the best gods for sure in our last S tier. But since then, there's been balance patches. Tsukiyomi has been hit with somewhat of some nerfs, Bushido getting hit, New Moon getting hit. But a lot of the power is still there. And the way to play against Tsukiyomi has not really changed. Either you hit them early, you hit them hard, and you force them to waste their New Moon on something they don't want to use it on. So, for example, the tower. Or you play a really, really nice defensive game, sacking stuff slowly while your economy pulls you in to a position where you can actually afford to lose some stuff to the big power spikes that the Tsukiyomi has. Those are the options. Nonetheless, we'll see how it's going to go here for Darth Nox. I'll talk about the map a little bit soon. We've got ourselves Staff of Dionysus here. Really, really nice defensive relic there for the villagers so that if they take a little bit of damage, they'll go back up to full HP. Over here we've got the Nose of the Sphinx. This is going to be increasing building hit points by plus 15%. Over onto this side, there is the Tusk of the Iron Boar. Amazing relic for Zukalo. Decent relic as well for Darth Nox here. If he wants to get into those White Horse Cavalry, which he probably will be wanting to. And up onto the top side, we have the Arrows of Heracles, which is increasing the attack of the ranged soldiers and ranged heroes by 5%. Now, map situation. Town center here is okay. Back food with this here, and also 3 elephants on this top side. Though, if Zukalo is raiding hard, you have to kind of put the wall up in front. You get a gold mine on the top corner as well. It's not terrible. It's not amazing. It's not terrible, right? If he wants to go second town center, he might be able to make it work. For Zukalo, on the other hand, he's got something similar. He's got 4 gazelle behind the town center. He's got his elephant over here. He's got the gold mine. If he wants to go to town center, he can probably make it work as well. We got some chatter in the chat. Yes, these maps come from Age of Empires 2, Age of Empires 4, and Age of Mythology Legacy Edition. We had there's a lot of maps from all of the different places. So yeah, they're into Age of Mythology now, so we get to enjoy them too. Nonetheless, Chiyal as well for Darth Nox. I'm not exactly surprised to see this. Personally, I think I prefer to play Juan Nu in nearly every single matchup at the moment, with the exception of against Norse. When I'm playing Fushi. Reason being is the healing from the Chillin, the technology reincarnation, and also the Divine Books technology gives you cheaper attachments. But Chiyal does give you access to 2 incredibly powerful things: the Lightning Weapons technology, or God Power, and also Master of Weaponry. It was nerfed, or maybe not nerfed. Nerfed is maybe the wrong way to think about it. It was reworked. Now it's stronger in the straight up fight, in the straight up engagement in terms of DPS. But it's weaker on the catching your opponent out. So your opponent can't, your opponent can run away from the halberdiers now without dying. But if they don't run away, they will die faster. Nonetheless, Zukalo, he's already off. Opens up with his cavalry. Not surprised to see this. And he's in the main base of Darth Nox already here. Wafu needs to pull off into the tower. This peasant gets taken out. Does get first blood. There is more Naginata riders are just going to be just charging into this position. Another villager down. A 3rd villager going to be going down here as well, as Darth Nox is looking completely lost here as to how to defend that early raid. That was just a stock standard raid from Zukalo, but the positioning and control from those cavalry was insane. And Darth Nox just way too cavalier with it. He went for the Imperial Academy first and then built the military camp. He needed to get himself out halberdier. He needed to get himself out halberdier immediately there. And Zucolo pulls back. Now he's dropping his dojo, making Samurai make sense here. Behind this as well, we see the Ivory Netsuke super early on. Now, unfortunately, he's lost himself already one Kitsune. The Kitsune nibbles will give just a tiny little bit of gold. But obviously, plans to potentially grab some more units later on is going to be nice. Oh, as the Rhino having some issues here. And the Yatsu do manage to get a bit of a return rate in, picking off one villager there. Up onto the top here. The Juragumo is in. So if she can get just a little bit of damage off, she'll get a little bit of gold there as well. But she's slow. Mostly her power comes from trying to take out enemy cavalry units, right? As they try and take out villages and things like that. As the Darth Nox Pioneer goes down, Zucolo is now yet again finding his way onto this gold mine. As Darth Nox not paying attention, is focusing on this side. Zucolo microing both, managing to potentially catch out these Kwafu who are trying to get through onto the tower. Can he stop this one? It looks like he's going to be able to pick off one Kwafu there as well. But into the main base, the army here of Darth Nox charging in, takes out a bunch of units there. He can now start going after the villages of Zucolo as well, as both players are just taking so much damage. We've got the Swampland getting dropped down here as well, though, as Darth Nox has to bail out on this. He's going to be out of the Swampland. Loses one unit as the Yatsu dive back in. And Zucolo still searching here for villagers to pick off. Wow, 24-22. Might seem like it's kind of close, but if the Japanese player is in front on villagers, that normally doesn't bode well. Over onto this side, Neja coming back in. He's going to be happily getting a trade here. It's not the end of the world. Big amounts of damage onto that Naginata Rider, though. And great micro as well, keeping that one alive. 11 HP. He can pull back into his main base and heal those back up if he wants to. As the Yatsu going to be looking to charge in here. 5.3 speed versus 6 speed. You might not realize it, but cavalry are a good counter to Yatsu. Because 25% HP, or armor, I should say, and they do get outsped by the Naginata Riders. Over onto this side, village is going to be diving into the town center. Miko over here slapping the Yatsu just a little bit. And Zucolo pokes his head over here. Not quite going to get into there anymore as the Halberdier are now through. And the game will continue along as a handful of Onnamusha to come through, but no Samurai just yet. The other thing about this situation now, I guess, for Darth Nox, one thing that he can take somewhat solace in is because he's managed to get Swampland out without any issues. Lost a handful of units, not too many. He's now got lightning weapons to get a lot of damage done, but man, this is Zucolo in his element. He's just going to continue to raid, picking villages off left, right, and center. One thing that Chinese players... Well, China baits you into doing this a little bit because they have this thing called favored land, which you want to expand it as much as you can so that you can get yourself bonus favor, right? Or extra favor income. But it's you're baited into doing this because it actually opens your base up with your slow army. You're not going to be able to defend your villages. So really, in the early game, you want to be building your buildings in such a way that the cavalry can't enter your base. And then later in the game, you want to expand it once you've survived the early game raids, right? That's the sort of important thing. Meanwhile, Hachiman coming through, copper armor, copper weapons, copper shields, going to be coming through as well. There is actually a little trick here with regards to the new moon now. We'll talk about it when we get there, but nonetheless, a bit of a fight on this side as the Naginata Riders, they're not going to be able to win this fight, right? Those are Halberdier. Halberdier are going to be really strong. He drops that lightning weapons as well. And Zucolo just says, I'm going to sit here and take it. He's going to lose everything. Why is Zucolo not running here? He's got himself the Tengu in, but there is a Najar here. And there's lightning weapons, which affects the Najar. So that's going to get that stun in. But now we have the Shogun to come through as well, which will be able to start spawning Samurai when he gets enough damage in. Villagers onto the top side getting pushed back as Zucolo, while I'm not sure if he's won the fight, lost the fight, or what, but the Onnomushi are going to be going down. The Shogun to just continuously chase these Yatsa around, not getting himself the extra samurai, and now he's going to start making Yumi horse archers. Darth Nox definitely going to be needing some sort of answer for this as he hits the heroic age here. New Moon does get dropped, and take a look at the upgrades that got researched. He didn't get himself the copper mail in. So you can manage to, the New Moon gets the most expensive upgrades inside of the armory. So the fight continues though. I wanted to go on a big deep theory dive as to what the best way to upgrade your armory is now with New Moon, but we didn't have time for it. And Darth Nox just taps out. There's no fight in the man. There's no dog in this man. He does not want to continue. It seemed like it was going somewhat well for him, but the fact that he went for the fight, the heroic age, and the god power all in one was a big scratch in the head there. I think if he just went full spam, full send, all of a sudden, this fight would have been brutal, and I think Darth Nox probably would have taken this win, but trying to get heroic age, take a fight, and expand, and all the villages, I mean, I don't know, man. But Zucolo there manages to find the dub, and the story of this series was and will continue to be, as it's finished now, a series of domination from start to end. Darth Nox gets a win, dominates. Zucolo gets a win, dominates. Darth Nox gets a win, dominates. Zucolo gets a win, dominates. And then while it seemed like a close game, it just ends in a dominating fashion with another sort of weird decision from Darth Nox as well. But nonetheless, a well-played game here from Zucolo. Gets the win, 3-2, going off to the main event winners bracket. It's not the end of the road here for Darth Nox. He will be in the losers bracket, but a very long road if he in the tournament if he's going to get to the finals. There's a lot of wins he's going to have to find, but well played here. We're going to take the shortest of breaks to get set up for our next series, which is Illuminati versus Eric Biart. It's going to be a banger series. Don't go nowhere. We'll be there very shortly.